Hi, this is Yuchi Hongroy's channel with another top deck profile. What's your name and what did you do today?
My name's Calvin Lai, and today I won ARG San Jose.
Cool. And we can take a look at the the trophy and the ring right there.
Yeah, the ring that's pretty cool.
For sure. Okay. So what'd you play?
I played Gem Knight FTK.
Gem Knight FTK. So I know after the pack came out, a lot of people were talking about it, but then pretty much after that, everyone was like, Pendulum FTK is better, and it kind of makes sense because Pendulum FTK, even if you're not FTK, you can kind of play like the Pendulum deck, which is already considered like a top tier deck. So why did you decide to play the Gem Knight FTK instead? So
there's two reasons here, right? On the topic of like Pendulum FTK, sure, I mean you can play Pendulum Magicians, but honestly, the FTK side isn't as good as this deck because you can't play through hand traps. And honestly, if you are playing Magicians, right, the board isn't even that strong if you're going for the FTK and you mess up. So really, I don't think Pendulum FTK is a good deck. The reason why I played this deck, though, is because I played this for UDS Sacramento, and I spent countless hours solitaring this in my room, so this is what I decided to play.
For sure. Okay, let's get to the deck profile then.
Okay. Oh, and one more thing. There's been a lot of lists out, so it showed up in a couple of regional tournaments, right? And I think some in South America. But the problem is I think all the builds are bad. They're running a lot of cards that aren't good, and even the extra deck isn't what I think. I would not replace a single card in this deck. Maybe
for sure.
Inside.
Okay, I mean, I guess you have the right to say that because you obviously won with the build. So, okay, yeah, well, let's get to the deck then.
So let's start with the monsters here. I run 3 Tourmaline and 1 Lapis, and then 3 Lazuli and 3 Obsidians. These are all the Gem Knights in the deck. Some people are running 3 Lapis. I think it's bad. The reason why Tourmaline is so important is because it's a Thunder. And Thunder and having multiple types of the same attribute is extremely important in this deck. These two are just combo pieces. You kind of have to run 3. I've been debating on running the 3rd Obsidian, but honestly, it hasn't failed me yet.
For sure. Cool.
And then in terms of the rock monsters, you got 3 Gem Armadillo, 1 Crystal Rose, and 2 Block Dragon. Armadillo is the Stratus of the deck. This is also debatable on whether you run 3 or not, because your normal summon is so weak in this deck. But running 3 isn't too bad, and sometimes I'd side out the 3rd one. For
sure. Why only 2 Block Dragon? I know a lot of the first list, people were maxing out it. They're like, if you don't get to Block Dragon, the deck isn't as good as, it can be.
So the reason why I don't run 3 Block Dragons is because I don't want to see a hand of 2 Block Dragons. They are not very effective. It's really broken when you draw 1, but when you draw 2, that's 1 less combo piece in your hand, and you can't really make use of Block Dragon without the extra pieces. For sure. So 2 is really good, but you sort of run a 3rd because you run Foolish Burial in this.
Okay, cool.
And then Crystal Rose is a combo piece. It puts another monster on the board, helps you burn for more damage, recycles even more. It does a lot of things. Some builds run 2. I've been debating on it, but I think 1 is fine.
Okay, for sure.
And then for the rest of the monsters, you got triple Rescue Rabbit, and then the Plant Engine with triple Lone Fire, double Scorpio, and Darlington Cobra.
Okay, so what do you think about the Plant Engine? I know some builds cut it because they're like, oh, it's a bit risky. It makes you more susceptible to like hand traps and stuff. So what do you think about it?
Like, sure, Cobra is an awful card, and I hate drawing this card. I think everyone hates drawing this card. But the fact that the reason why this is so good in this deck is because it allows for too many 2-card FTKs. Meaning the other 3 cards in your hand you can play around hand traps or play around an established board. For sure. Right? And so the amount of percentage numbers that the plants give you far outweighs you bricking with Cobra. So it's just that good. For example, Lone Fire and Rescue Rabbit is a 2-card FTK. Rescue Rabbit's broken, it's one card core.
For sure.
So that's all the monsters.
Okay, cool.
And then so onto the spells. Most broken spell in the deck, Brilliant Fusion. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. The nice part about this is that you never ever brick with Brilliant Fusion.
For sure. I mean, your whole deck is Gem Knights, right?
Yeah, you're not running 1 Garnet. You don't have to draw that 1 Garnet. Triple Gem Knight Fusion. Yep. The 3rd is debatable, but this card just allows you to play through so many more things. If you have a hand of Brilliant Fusion and Gem Knight Fusion, it's really, really hard to lose. Okay. And then I run double Unexpected Die and Reasoning. These two cards fill the same sort of niche, but for the reason why you want to run 2 of these, because seeing 2 unexpected dies in your hand sucks, because you can't play the second one.
I guess the second one only comes up if somehow your board gets ogred or something, and then...
Exactly,
right?
And so reasoning is really, really nice because it sort of fills that 3rd slot, so that you get those numbers up. But reasoning is really nice because it can also mill Gem Knight Fusion, or it can mill Block Dragon as well.
Okay, cool.
So really, really powerful.
Why not Absorb Fusion, which some builds were playing in the beginning?
The problem is that when you run Absorbed Fusion, you're limiting your paths to the FTK. So you'll see later in the extra deck, it's very, very necessary to be summoning things like Mrs. Radiant, Binary Sorceress, and Curious, the Lightsworn Dominion.
Okay.
Really, really important cards. You can't really afford running the Absorbed Fusion.
For sure.
So then for the 1-ofs here, I run Monster Reborn, Soul Charge, and Foolish Burial. All 3 really good cards. The Foolish Burial, some builds have cut, but like I said, it's a 3rd Block Dragon without having to be a 3rd Block Dragon. And it's very flexible too.
For sure.
You draw either of these 2.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously just win, right?
Yeah, you more than likely win. You play around every single kind of hand trap out there other than Droll.
Okay.
Actually, even if you draw Soul Charge, you can play out of Droll.
For sure.
And then finally, the last 4 spells are double Called by the Grave and double Drag Down into the Grave.
Okay, so why 2/2 rather than like, what is it, 3/1 or 3 Called? I know, what is it? FTK players said Called was like a godsend to them, so like, why only 2/2?
Yeah, originally I was running. It's really slow. Originally I was running 40 cards. I'm running 41 cards in this deck because I couldn't find a card to cut. I actually cut the Gem Knight Fusion for a little bit, but instead running 2 and 2 is really nice because seeing 1 of each is playable, right? But seeing double Drag Down feels really bad because you're literally minusing 2 and you are taking out a lot of your combo pieces. Makes that probability just way lower. If you're running 2 of each, you're likely to see 1, or you're likely to see at least 1, which is really important to play around Ash Blossom is the new one that you want to hit.
For sure.
And Call of Grave is just broken. This card's nuts.
Obviously, yeah.
So that's the main deck. No traps.
No traps, obviously. Yeah.
No traps. This 41 cards is what I play every time I go first.
For sure.
I don't side anything out for going first.
Okay, for sure.
No matter what the matchup is.
Okay, so side or extra first?
Let's do extra.
Okay.
So starting with the most important card in the extra deck is Phantom Knight Quartz. Once this came out, it made this deck explode. It gives you a free search, and it gives you so many resources because it lets you fusion summoning without actually having to send materials. And it also recycles things like Zirconia, so you can afford to run 1.
For sure.
You got triple Master Diamond and triple Lazuli. Some builds are running 2 of each. These are the FTK pieces, if you're not familiar. I think it's vastly incorrect to run 2 of each because there's a lot of situations where you need the 3rd to burn for that 8k.
For sure.
Again, you're just limiting the number of trees that you have.
Yeah.
The 1-of Gem Knights, you got Zirconia, Prism Aura, Seraphonite, and Lady Brilliant Diamond. These are all combo pieces. These 3 service to get your combo started, depending on the pieces that you have in there, so that you can make the quartz and go off from there. For
sure.
And then finally, for the rest of the Link Monsters, you got Binary Sorceress, Mrs. Radiant, and the second best monster in this extra deck, Curious.
Yep.
This card, people were not running it, and I have no idea why. This card's absolutely nuts. It's Levolval Chain. I can send Block Dragon off of it. I can sometimes I manage to mill a Lazuli off of the Curious mill effect, and it just won me the game right there.
For sure.
And so the reason why you run these 2 is because Block Dragon is sort of awkward sometimes if you don't have access to Zirconia.
For sure.
So this gives you easy ways to get rid of that Block Dragon, get that search off, and then finish off the FTK.
Yeah. So you mentioned that Curious was Levolval Chain. If Levolval Chain came back, would you play it, or it doesn't?
Yeah, I don't think it would be bad in this deck. I think it would be pretty good. I'll be honest with you, though. I don't know what to cut from this deck for that. Yeah, because I really like these 15 cards and the way it's functioning.
Yep, cool. Okay, and then I guess side deck?
And so side deck was only relevant when I was going second. I think there were some games where I sided in 12 cards. And so it starts out with triple Twin Twister and a Cosmic Cyclone. A lot of people like to side in Anti-Spell Fragrance. I hate that card, so getting rid of those cards is really, really good. For sure. The only reason why you run 1 Cosmic Cyclone here is because Imperial Iron Wall is a card, and getting chained to it really, really sucks.
Then why not MST instead of Cosmic?
It's good enough in other matchups, like say for example Pendulum Magician, or if sometimes it's relevant in True Draco, for example. It's just a better MST.
Okay, for sure.
So then I run the Kaijus, I run Humongous, Dogoran, and Thunder King, and then an Interrupted Slumber. Humongous is absolutely clutch. Because it's an Earth, I can banish it for Block Dragon, but there was also a game where I had to make a field of Mrs. Radiant and a Block Dragon, and I floated the Mrs. Radiant into a Humongous that was in my grave, used it again, and hit his invoked Makaba, so it was just absolutely insane. It's definitely the best of the three, and I never played Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. I cited it, I saw it, but I wasn't able to play it because I drew 2 other Kaijus with it, so
yeah.
Okay. And then to round that off, Raigeki. Raigeki is a good card.
No Dark Hole?
No Dark Hole, because you're running Interrupted Kaiju Slumber.
Okay.
It's basically the same thing.
For sure.
Triple Evenly Matched. Holy moly, this card is stupid. I don't need my Battle Phase, so that's why Soul Charge and Evenly Match are absolutely broken in this deck.
Yep.
And then finally, this is the only card I probably change. Ghost Ogre. I would probably run Effect Veilers instead. Maybe Ash Blossoms, but I think Veiler might actually be better because you want you really want them to establish a board of special summon monsters, and the Effect Veiler just stops them in their track, right? Ash Blossom makes it so that they can't even go off in the first place. So having that Effect Veiler, I think, would be really good instead of Ghost Ogre.
Okay, so that's pretty much the only change you would have made to this deck?
Yeah. Otherwise, the 56 cards in the main deck and the extra deck is perfect.
For sure. And you wouldn't try to get down to 40 cards?
No. It's really, really hard to... I sat up all night trying to figure out what to cut, but it's the extra card actually really matters. For sure.
Yeah, so thanks for the deck profile. Do you have any shout-outs?
Absolutely. Shout-outs to JustFlip and Team Royalty. They're my locals in the area, and when I come to Cat Test, I come here. Shout-outs to Team Stockton, AJ, Daniel. You guys are awesome. Make college bearable. And then finally, most importantly, shout-outs to Thunder Buddies, Peter, Corey, Tan, and Jeffrey. You guys are awesome. Couldn't have done it without you guys.
For sure. Yeah.
And then last but not least, thanks to Kevin Wu for this free mat. It looks absolutely beautiful. Ash Blossom is very pretty.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so thank you for the deck profile once again, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you.